So hey y'all, I'm back with another video. So tonight's video is yet again another Chioma Chats video podcast edition. So by the title, we're going to be discussing all of the female rap beef that has dropped as of recently, and let me just say, the girls are fighting. Now y'all know I stay on female rappers as a topic. People used to call me obsessed, but now people literally ask me to do commentary on this, and like I said, I've always been interested in female rap, and now that there's more players in the game, it's just interesting all around. Recently we had JT of the City Girls have a Twitter dispute with Glorilla, and then even more recently, JT has challenged her bandmate Young Miami, and it's clear as day that these two haven't gotten along, let alone have any amicable nature between them. When it comes to JT and Glorilla, I personally didn't know that there was a behind-the-scenes beef. I know there was a rumor that they got into a physical altercation at an awards show some months ago. However, I really thought that that was hearsay until everything spilled over on Twitter. There is a huge revelation that is going on in the female rap genre that a lot of people are seeing, and it's not just the obvious one-trick pony type of talent that a lot of them have been giving us, but it's simply the lack of unification and the competition that is very obvious. I do understand that there's this public desire and somewhat encouraged notion of female unity, girl power, supporting women, and even the let's all be friends type of ordeal that is spewed out by just about everyone. It's like if you say anything that opposes what another woman said or did, you're chastised or called out for not being a girl's girl. But the reality is, it's literally impossible for all women to get along, especially when they're coming from different walks of life, and especially when people are people. You know, humans are human. There's people in our everyday lives that we share the same gender, parts, and maybe social economic factors such as race or age that we just don't get along with, and that's just normal. I don't like this forced requirement that all women are supposed to be supportive of one another and applaud each other's behavior, because God gave everyone an individual brain to be themselves and to think for themselves. In this case, these ladies are not seeing eye to eye. I don't think we know exactly why, but to see how it's being published to the public, it's definitely showing a lot of what the internal realities are within the industry. So I wanted to talk about this. Y'all knew I wasn't going to miss this topic, and I also knew that there was just no way that all of these people get along with one another, and I never had that expectation. So now that everything is here for public consumption, let's talk about it. So I've broken this video down into two overall main talking points, so without further ado, let's get right into this video. So let's start with JT and Glorilla. I did not see this coming. Maybe I haven't been paying attention as much, but apparently these two got into some type of physical altercation at an award show months ago. Glorilla alleges that she slapped JT or threw a purse, and JT says that it didn't happen. So this all got started when Glorilla dropped her new song, and she wrote, "I just pray one day the bad bees will come together because Cardi and Nicki on the track would break some effing records. Me and JT ain't the best of friends, but we ain't beefing. No bees always have an Anna that they keep a secret." Now, as a female rap fan and someone who's also rapping themselves, I enjoy when people put it on wax. It's nothing to directly state exactly what the issues are and put it in your music for many reasons. One being, it shows that you push your pen. Two being, it shows that you are speaking on your reality, which then comes off as authentic. And three being, it allows for artists to actually clarify or give a response to rumors, narratives, or just personal desires that they have within their real life. So I'm here for it. I like Glorilla. I think that Glorilla is someone who stands out within this industry because yes, she may hit on some of the same three generic female rapper topics that they all hit on, but very seldom do we see somebody actually be versatile enough to write about real things and real life thoughts in addition to the sexual content, the club banger stuff that we see more than not. So once everyone heard those lyrics, of course, it got picked up by the blogs, which don't y'all feel that the blogs are actually the catalyst in a lot of social media narratives and arguments? I swear the blogs know what they be doing, but these celebrities also know that this is the case and they use it as a marketing tool, so I can't always blame the bloggers. Nonetheless, people started to try to patch two things together because there were people like me who didn't know that there was any animosity, and even if people behind the scenes knew of any animosity, they were curious to know where it stemmed from and why she even mentioned it. I don't consider this to be messy. I feel like your artistry is supposed to be an expression of your life or just the image that you want to promote. So I was here for it once again. So once JT got wind of this is when all hell breaks loose. So someone on Twitter said, "So who started the rumor and why Glow ain't just clear it up to begin with? That's weird." JT responded and said, "I guess she was waiting on her tape to address and who gonna clear up going viral for slapping someone when the whole hood believed it. It was on brand." Then JT says, "OMG, you are a liar. B, don't hit me with ish. You approached me sounding like an old beat up box Chevy. What up, gang?" Glorilla then responds back to her and says, "Inmate 0983 was taking off her shoes like she was gonna get to me. Didn't know if her butt was trying to get active or get sturdy. Lying about getting touched is crazy." Then JT comes back and says, "I honestly thought Glow was a real B, but she not. She caused all of that ish with FNF Remix 2. Came in the game messy and phony, ready to switch up on your homies too. too. Had to jump back on the roof. Glorilla said, yeah, you slower than me. I'm done arguing. Get up with me in real life. I don't do the internet. You gonna win every time. I already heard you going broke anyway. So then Glorilla also says, don't make me pop up at one of them backyard barbecue shows you doing. You feeling a way about slapping rap bees and making bail, ho. Guess that last run you had thinking you the only bee I touched. Then JT says, Yo Gotti started at backyard barbecues. Now he own you. So this not a drag. Real hustlers relate. But pull up. Then JT posted a slew of mugshots and said, pending, with a circle in open position as if this was a bingo card. I guess this was her free space to say she'll get another mugshot in relation to putting hands on Glorilla. And Glorilla said, girl, them mugshots is from you stealing, not fighting, B. Shut the F up. Now, I'm pretty sure there was more, but I promise you it's very hard to swim through a pool of messiness to find every little detail. And I'm pretty sure y'all just want my commentary, so let's get into it. I don't really know why JT has been in a lot of internet, social media discourse. And I'm not gonna lie, I do feel as though JT makes herself look unlikable and unapproachable because most times she's responding to something, it's some form of a negative comment or some form of a drag that a random person on the internet is trying to give to her. And I would have thought that by now JT understood that it comes with the territory and not everything is worth being addressed. As someone with public influence, I do think it's fine to address different things because we're all human beings, and no matter how much fame or fortune or notoriety that you have, the human instinct to respond to backlash or critiques or anything of that nature is always very natural. So I'll never tell a celebrity, influencer, public figure of any sort that they don't have the right to defend themselves, let alone address something because I do it, but also I believe it's very natural. It takes a very strong-willed person to not give into any negative discourse about themselves. However, I do think it's very frequent for JT, and I think that's why her being deemed as angry or bitter is the terminology surrounding her celebrity right now. There were also people trying to say that the only reason why JT is receiving negative responses to her response is due to colorism. And unfortunately, y'all, I can't give credit to that. I don't think that colorism is present in every factor, and I feel like there's a lot of documented back and forth that JT has had, not just recently, but periodically throughout her career, but specifically recently, that shows that she is very quick to respond to negativity and very hot-tempered when it comes to people saying things about her. I don't necessarily think it's coming from insecurity. I just think that the personality that JT has is very exemplary of someone who feels the need to snap back or clap back at everything. And that's just something that she's gonna have to work on because none of this is going to go away. As for Glo, I do commend her for addressing her feelings in a song because I feel like that's the best way for an artist to express themselves. And I think with the business aspect of there being a need to market all of these individual records, controversy is always going to sell. I also feel like what Glorilla said was not worth the response that JT gave, and there has to be some truth to maybe what happened back in October with the whole somebody getting slapped, because there's no way this could have angered JT that much. If anything, JT being a rapper and a writer herself should have wrote something in response to Glorilla and said what she had to say on a record. But to go on a Twitter rant kind of shows that you are bothered by something, and I think that's why JT received the backlash that she got. Both of the girls were eating each other up. I feel like a lot of the comebacks were very witty and had me chuckle a little bit. I don't know who ate more. Y'all can let me know what you think. Was Glorilla's comebacks better, or do you think that JT's comebacks were better? But nonetheless, something had to have happened for this to transpire, which leads me to believe that they did have an altercation. But that is alleged. There's no proof of that. So in this case, it's hearsay, and neither party can provide supporting evidence of what really happened, so it's just word of mouth. I think all in all, JT is getting a lot more recognition now that she's being promoted as a solo artist, and I think that comes with a lot more viewers, followers, and people who are just interested in her. And she's been getting positively praised for a lot of her new work. I personally didn't like her song No Bars because I felt like there were absolutely no bars in it. I feel like the flow was pretty much what we've always heard from her, and I couldn't understand the obsession with the whole no bars term that everybody was overusing. It just didn't hit for me personally, but I still do think that JT is a solid rap artist. Now her song Sideways, that was good. I think that was a bop. I like the flow on that one. It was a little bit different, and I think that was reaffirming for me to pay a lot more attention to her and her future projects. And I think that's what JT needs to do. If you're gonna be a female rap artist, almost all of these girls have to lay off the Twitter fingers. I just don't understand how you could be quick to write on Twitter, going back and forth, calling people out their names, and this is on both ends, and then not putting it in a song where you can capitalize off of it, you can make some money off of it, you can promote something, and you can show your talent. I mean, is that not the first option before we go on the Twitter rant? And again, this applies for a lot of female rap artists. So I hope to see JT come out with some type of track addressing this, because the insinuation that there's more to come, or we shall see, or just wait, is always going to sway a lot of people's public opinion to support Glorilla in this versus JT. And I think JT has got to get off Twitter and just allow her talent and her career to show. She's been doing pretty well, so I hope to see some type of response record in the near future. Now, my second and last point, point, I wanted to talk about JT versus Young Miami. Like, this is the big one. I feel like this has been a long time coming. There has been so many rumors circulating about the City Girls splitting up. I've always said that it was alleged because I feel like they were still putting out joint records, they were still putting out music videos, and they were still performing and acting as a group. But I think with this back and forth, this goes to show that the City Girls are no longer a group. And I think it was obvious from the way how both Young Miami and JT have been moving. We didn't see JT present for Young Miami's birthday trip. We haven't seen them do a lot of collaborative content. Their last album really didn't chart or do that well. And of course, JT has put out solo songs, which indicates that there's been a rift or their group just has been disbanded altogether. So as we all know, Young Miami, aka Carisha, has been in a lot of hot water when it comes to her legal situation pertaining to P. Diddy and his alleged sex trafficking involvement. And the bad press that Young Miami has been getting is definitely warranted for obvious reasons. She played into this whole ideology that she was a main girlfriend of Diddy. She called out naysayers of her relationship, and I have to put air quotes around relationship, but she was also unapologetic about her involvement with him, and she basically gambled her career and her reputation for the sake of this, and that gamble basically put her at a loss. And if y'all didn't know, she is still with him. Look at this on your screen. This is recent. The blogs have been reporting that she's still with this man. So to be honest, she doesn't care. She's trying to deny a lot of things that have been said about her, and it just goes to show that Young Miami, yeah, you might just be a bag of rocks, just saying. So she's lost a lot of respect. Again, her reputation is shattered. There are people who were fans of her who are no longer fans, and even some of her business dealings, such as her podcast show Carisha Please, is going to be discontinued because it's tied to P. Diddy and Revolt TV, which he doesn't have any shares in anymore. So I think that the bad press has put Young Miami on edge, and she's playing it as if she's unbothered and making this overdone effort to show that her life is still just as good as it was. And I will say, life does go on, so even if you're dealing with something, there should always be a light at the end of the tunnel, whether it means you are reprimanded and have to take disciplinary action for what you've done, or there's just better days ahead. So I'm not gonna fault her for trying to just live her life normally, but all I'm saying is I don't buy it, and it's unbelievable to the public that she's okay with everything going on. So again, the City Girls have been rumored to be broken up for a while, and this Twitter dispute has kind of proven that. But Young Miami said, "A B been sneak dissing me for weeks. I ain't say ish. What a be mad at me for?" And then JT said, "Oh, Miss Mama, this your last day playing dumb." So then JT goes on a run, and she said, "It'll be too much for me to tweet. I would like to sit down, Carisha Please. And this time, leave Santana at home. I know I come off crazy, but never in my life did no whack-ish to this girl. She literally enjoys seeing me dragged when people show me love. She goes crazy and call it the hate train. But like I said, we can sit down and talk about it." And then Young Miami says, "I ain't jealous of a soul. I'm always like, go be go. I clap for everybody. I show love to everybody. Ain't a B I haven't shown love to." And then JT said, "Glock with an extended clip," and Young Miami retweeted that. Young Miami also says, "For you to come on here and try to play victim is crazy. Jatavia, you've been sneak dissing me for the last couple days. I haven't said ish back to you. You made 2 whole songs dissing me, and I still rapped your ish with my chest and show love, so what's the real problem here?" And then JT says, "Girl, the internet told you that, which was about you. The one saying it's City Girl ish even when it ain't City Girl ish, that was released under City Girls. Or the one saying riding solo but I'm still in the group. Get your phone back from whoever this is, baby. Don't play with me." Then Young Miami comes back and says, "You let the internet put in your head that I'm jealous of you, when you know I'm the one that always pushed us. You have resentment towards me too, and that's okay." And then Young Miami has said no bars and sideways, addressing which songs she feels are diss songs towards her. And JT says, "Oh wow, you're really losing it. If you thought this, why not speak to me about it? You came on here and said LOL, so people can ask you why you wasn't defending me. Attention seeking as usual." And honestly, Carisha did say LOL out of the blue, and I do think that was a direct response to JT's recent Twitter discourse with Glorilla. So then JT literally says, "Leave Santana at home," and here comes saucy Santana. He says, "JT, please. You always throw me in some ish. You unfollowed me and blocked me like I'm the person you got a problem with. Please address your issues head on with any and everybody you don't like. Stop taking it out on me. I don't need to be mentioned." Then he said, "FYI, I was initially asked to be the co-host of Carisha Please. I declined and was a guest host to people I was genuine friends with, i.e. Lotto. JT and Suki got scrapped. I don't need to be involved. I got my own motion." And then he says, "I'm the problem. I'm the villain. quoting JT. Now that's all I'm going to read because let's just get to the commentary. I want to start by saying I think there are both true and false factors on each side, and I think that's what these ladies need to sit down and address because there's a lot of internet intervention in all of this, and we all know that fan bases and just regular commentators on social media can definitely create narratives that may not even exist in these people's lives. I do think that these parasocial relationships that people have with their favorite rapper or singer or whatever definitely convolutes the truth and a lot of their ordeals, and that's very evident here. However, like I said, I do think there are both true and false factors on each side. On JT's side, I think what is true is that her newfound relevance, and not saying that she wasn't relevant before, but there have been a lot more eyes on her, does potentially trigger something in relation to Young Miami. And it may not be jealousy or spite, but I definitely think it could just be a realization that things have changed between their group dynamics. And I think that's natural, but I do think the way how it comes off to the public in regards to Young Miami's actions is that she doesn't want anything to do with JT because JT has elevated to a new point in her career. Young Miami's association with Diddy was definitely loved and adored until it wasn't, and not by everybody, but by enough people for people to pay attention to it. Now, what I think is false on JT's end is that JT says a lot of things on Twitter and in her songs that sounds like she's speaking about someone. It's always these bees this, these hoes mad, blah, 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 right? And I'll give her the benefit of the doubt to say that a lot of rap girls insinuate that they are in some type of drama or have haters or people are envious of them via their lyrics. Some of that might just be you're writing this because this is what sells and this is what the people want to hear. But I do think there's a lot of truth to what a lot of people write in their music that people also disregard. A lot of people are capping their rap, but I don't think it all comes from fiction. And for JT to address a lot of things, check people, go on Twitter rants, and not hold her tongue, do I believe that certain things were said in relation to Carisha? Yes. So I feel like she should be honest about that. And I don't necessarily think she's wrong because the success of their brand did take a turn when Carisha decided to focus less on music and more on herself, her other brands, and what she was working on. And I do think that it caused a rift in the group and then eventually piled up to what we're seeing now. Now, on Carisha's end, what I do think is true is that she most definitely held down the City Girls while JT was in jail and is really the juggernaut to the group when you really think of it. During the height of their career, when the song Act Up and the song In My Feelings was taken over, she was the only representation for the duo. And it's not like they're in a trio where there were two girls that could uphold the group while one was absent, but she really took on the burden by herself while she was also pregnant. So when she says that she's congratulating JT or she's cheering her on, I do think to a certain extent that was true. But what I think is false is that Carisha definitely tweets and does subliminals that challenge JT. And I do think it stems from the fact that JT is now in a better light than Carisha is and may remain that way because JT is not involved in the mess. And I think her tweeting LOL was definitely signaling drama and messiness. In addition to her claiming that a B been sneak dissing me for weeks and I ain't said ish, what a B mad at me for, it's definitely signaling that you have smoke with JT, and that was very telling. I also think it's false for her to claim that she was supporting JT in a way that was visible to the public as well as believable because every time anyone dragged JT on Twitter for any reason, and especially in her recent beef with Glorilla, Carisha has been quiet as a church mouse. And if that's truly your best friend, your bandmate, someone you came up with together, part of the reason why you are successful, I think it's expected to say more or do more. And of course, people can say that, oh, behind the scenes, she could have been saying this or that. But when you're being publicly dragged, it's nothing to publicly defend the person that you claim is your friend. So something had to have been spewing all this while. I mean, if that's your homegirl, you gotta stand behind her. People were saying that Carisha's the type of girl to see her friend get jumped and not jump in. And maybe that's true, but I do think her defending JT has been very minimal, even though the expectation has been pretty high, not only from people on the internet, but in particular JT herself. Now, all in all, I thought this should have been a private conversation because I really don't want to see the City Girls split. I may not be a fan of one of their band members or care for their imagery altogether, but there are qualities about both that I think are good for the reality of what they do, and I personally don't want to see two successful ladies at odds. So I thought it was just gonna end there, but luckily they did end up finding an amicable solution. I guess one of the tweets that JT posted ended up on Twitter late, and Young Miami said, "Jatavia, we just got off the phone. I'm so confused. Now we back to the internet?" And then JT said, "This tweet was before the phone conversation. Don't know why it didn't go through. Maybe because everyone blown up my phone and it still stands. I'm glad to see you know how to respond, nonchalant about everything else." And then Miami says, "Jatavia, I love you. I'm moving on." And JT said, "I love you more. I actually love you the most." Now, to me, that didn't really sound like a real solution other than they're gonna agree to move on. Like, it kind of sounded a little bit nice nasty, but let me know what y'all think. But I am glad that as women when they were able to just talk about it, I don't think this shows that they're going to be back cool and that the City Girls are going to be back up with the points or give us the same energy that they did when they first came out. I think they probably just agreed to disagree or agreed to move on, like Young Miami said. I mean, JT said, "I'm glad to see you know how to respond. You're nonchalant about everything else." And I don't think that signals that she's over everything or that her feelings aren't hurt. I think she's standing in all the things that she said, but probably agreed to leave it off of the internet or just stop dissing Young Miami or just to not allow this to blow up more than it just did. In my opinion, the City Girls are definitely over, and I don't really think they can come back from this when the whole world has seen the crack in their duo. Maybe there was a misunderstanding, but I think it's understood that at this point in their lives and in their careers, they are in two different places, and what was once this triumphant, successful, and victorious conquer of a new school female rap duo will never be the same. So that is it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Please let me know your commentary on my commentary down below. What do you think? What do you know? Let me know. If you haven't already, follow me on TikTok. I posted some new ones on there. I will link my page down below. Definitely check me out. Some people have been asking, where's my music? It's definitely going to come back to streaming before the month is over. Sorry, y'all, just a little bit of a hiccup, but y'all will definitely be able to stream my music very soon. And lastly, don't forget to follow me on all of my social media networks, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye, y'all.
Waist beats thrown on my body, this ain't Mardi Gras. Roll the dice, move the piece, got him looking sorry, nah. I'm a queen in Queens, fire than LaGuardia. Few rap joints with bars, you're not hard enough. Stop with the excuse that you're still just starting up. Battling my team, and you don't want war with us. Speak heat on the beat, I'm sounding like a talking drum. Ghost Rider, girlies, man, admit that's where you got it from.